So as women in a male-dominated field, they can expect to be undervalued and underestimated. I've done some reading in the social science literature trying to understand why women were falling away, why I have so few female colleagues. And at least part of it is that for people of equal qualifications in a male-dominated arena, we are all, men and women, are all more likely to rate the man higher than the woman, even though their qualifications are equal. The nice thing about social science is they do actual experiments, they can repeat them, they can show that they get the same results. When it's your life, you only have one trial of the experiment. And if you go through some years in graduate school, postdoc, maybe early faculty, being underestimated and undervalued and not listened to, it's very discouraging. You really start to feel like your ideas are not worthy and maybe this isn't the field for you. And we've seen young women talking like that, even women who are known to be outstanding in their field and to have great promise for future careers. We hear them talking as if they're failures. I immediately in my head can think of a senior graduate student who talked that way, a senior faculty member who talked that way. And I don't see that among the men. They may have similar doubts, but for whatever reason, they don't express them. And, or they don't seem to be obsessing about them. Whereas all the women I see in this field, almost all of them are really worried about, are they good enough? Is their work good enough? And you spend so much energy worrying about, meeting some standard that it takes away from the actual work you're able to do. So I think we need to change people's ideas about, right now, most scientists, because scientists are very objective, they think there's a level playing field for men and women. It's demonstrably not the case, and again, social science research points the way. But if you think there's a level playing field, and you look around and see very few women, you get discouraged about the ability of women to compete in that arena. And I think we have to first understand the playing field is not level, and that women and minorities are operating from behind. They're running the race with a 100-pound backpack, and they're expected to cross the finish line ahead of some guy who, has the latest tennis shoes on and no weight to carry. Diversity is the key. It's the way to find the strongest results. If you look at history and you ask where were the great, flowerings of intellectual activity, of the advances made in knowledge and understanding, it's usually at a time when trade routes have intersected from very different regions. So you have people from one place talking to people from another place that they've never talked to before. And that mix of very different ideas brings up possibilities, ideas, thoughts, and in science, ideas are everything. You could come up with much better science if you had people from outside thinking. Maybe the cliche is thinking outside the box, thinking outside their normal comfort zone. If instead we just clone ourselves over and over again, and we promote and nurture and mentor the people who are just like us, we're not going to learn a lot new. We really have to diversify if we want to keep science healthy. No, it's not, actually. My colleagues, I think, all wanted me to be chair, and they've been extraordinarily supportive and helpful. They make it quite easy to be chair. I like it because I can do the things I want to do with our limited resources. If I want to have a study hall for students to help them get through that first intro course, I can staff it, I can assign people to do it. So that it's fun, and I think, the days of overt discrimination are gone, and I don't think there's anybody who thinks women can't do physics. They just think, I don't know, they have lots of reasons why they think women aren't doing physics, not all of which are correct, but I think it's a pretty good moment in which to be chair of a physics department. Well, that's a long one. Okay. Well, the first thing I would tell young women is to follow their interest. If they If there's something they love and think is fun, they should do it, and there's nothing to stop them. The second thing I would tell them is, if along the way they find themselves getting discouraged or thinking they've made a mistake, they should stop to consider the external influences that might have caused that sort of negative reaction. In other words, it's easy for women to get discouraged. They set very high standards. They maybe have a poor test now and then or something, or they get criticized for something. And women are particularly good at taking criticism to heart and brushing off compliments, whereas on average men are good at brushing off criticism and they invent their own compliments. So it's very hard for women in a competitive environment to feel successful. And we all want to feel successful. So I would tell young women that really determination and really trying hard and sticking with it, they can succeed. And if they find themselves being discouraged or thinking about quitting, they should find someone to talk to about it. In fact, networking among young women in science is one of the most effective things for keeping them healthy and successful. That is, keeping their excitement up and keeping their success up. So they ought to get together with their fellow students or postdocs or whatever level they are and have conversations about how things are going, mentor each other, help each other. And then mentoring is critical. I think every young person should look actively for mentors and find half a dozen who can help them in whatever way, and demand that help. Don't just wait for it to come around and find you. So, and then just please succeed. I guess that's the final thing I would say is, it's a wonderful life, frankly, being a scientist. We get paid well. We love doing our jobs. If you hear someone complaining about how hard they work, the truth is they work those extra hours because they really love what they're doing. And that's not always true of working people. They don't always love what they're doing. So it's a fantastic job. And I think, it's something that more women and minorities should be allowed to succeed in. So just do it.